All right, here we go.
Uh-oh, guess what day it is? Uh-oh, guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Anybody? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Hump day, hump day, hump day.
Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of Lifting the Veil, where my friend Franz comes on and brings us into a different angle of the rabbit hole. So welcome back, Franz. Good to see you.
Good to be back. It's good to see you too, Jay. Like I just said, it feels like it's been a couple months, not 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm sure it's gonna start feeling like that as time goes by quicker. We're gonna feel more exhausted and feel like we're losing time.
It sure does. Absolutely does feel that way. Okay, so I'm gonna start sharing here, and we'll jump right into it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Boop-a-doop.
James says hi, by the way.
Good to see you, James. Glad to see you made it.
Yeah, definitely always good to see James around.
All right. So last show, there was a comment. Said the Garden of the Gods, and Colorado Springs. Sorry, Colorado Springs in Colorado. So I started looking into it. Actually, Jay asked when we were talking after the last show who wanted to look into it, and I never like claiming one or the other. You know,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If the
Yeah.
Holy Spirit wants us to go into it, or one or the other, or both. But either way, I wasn't sure at that moment. But then over the last week or so, it just I kept finding myself looking into it. So I didn't want to go too crazy. I just wanted to scratch the surface so we knew where we were and what we were starting to get into, because the more I looked into it and more I just read around and looked at maps, the more I felt like we might circle back around to this more than once. I don't know. But either way, so we're going to take a trip out to Colorado.
Let's do it.
So we're Colorado Springs. It's at an elevation of 6,035 feet. It's a city in Colorado at the eastern foot of the Rocky Mountains. It lies near glacier-carved Pikes Peak, a landmark in Pike National Forest with hiking trails and cog railway leading to its 14,114-foot summit. The city's Garden of the Gods Park features iconic red sandstone formations and mountain views. So this is the city. Excuse me. That's Pikes Peak in the background. Another view of a neighborhood in the city. Again, that's Pikes Peak. Pikes Peak has 3 peaks.
Have you ever been out there?
Excuse me. No, I have. I've been to Kansas. Kansas and Oklahoma is the farthest west I have been. But the more I looked into this area and Colorado and that, I'd love to.
I was when I was on Dead Tour back in the old hippie days, drove my Volkswagen bus over the Rockies, and on the way back the trip over the Rockies killed the bus, and that was it. I had to junk it and didn't start taking buses and
really?
hitchhiking. Yeah, but yeah, it's wicked beautiful out there, man.
I'm sure it is. I mean, it's the Rockies meet the flats, right? That's pretty much you go flat.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so Colorado Springs is right at the edge. Yeah. Here's Colorado Springs College. Again, the view of the Pikes Peak in the back. And this is an older photo. I found this hotel at the end of the street called Antlers Hotel. I don't know, it struck me. I found an interest in it.
That's a castle, bro.
It does look like a castle, doesn't it?
Yeah. Probably used to be a castle.
I'm thinking it may have been. There was a few different hotels built, and it started in the mid 1800s and then late 1800s to early 1900s. I think this is the second.
Yeah, usually the narratives go, it was built in the 1800s in less than a year with a population of 250 people without power
really
tools.
You know? The reason why they have a second one is probably because you could guess that, you know, cities are always destroyed the same way.
Yeah.
That there's, you know, catastrophic fire.
Always a fire.
Right. So this this is late 50s, early 60s, I do believe.
Yeah, by the cars, that's what it looks like.
There was some older, and I kept on wanting to dig in the building, but I didn't specifically dig into one thing, just because there's a lot, you know. You could probably make half a show or a full show out of any one of these things. This is a rendition of the original.
Yeah.
The antlers.
Yeah, dude. That's huge.
So now this is where we just were in the neighborhood, right about where it says Colorado Springs. Directly over here is Pikes Peak. Okay. Here's Pikes Peak. This is the summit.
The long mountain, yada ha.
Pikes Peak, and then not too far to the east, we have the Garden of the Gods.
Dude, please tell me this is where the angels came down.
I want to say they did. And I do believe there's another spot a little west of here, but we'll get into that.
All right, awesome. That's where I was hoping you were going.
Yes.
Because that's what I was thinking last time we were talking, but I never ended up looking into it, so I'm glad you did.
So, yeah, the last, we were talking about the fallen angels and Mount Hermon and over there, and believing that they fell to mountaintops, Mount Olympus. The Greek gods are the fallen angels.
Yeah.
So, and I don't believe it was just one mountain. And I'm not sure if I believe if it was, I do believe it was originally in the United States. To me, this is more of the old world, the original world, I believe. So this is just a natural rock formation at God's Garden, or the Garden of the Gods. It's different views of it, looking across to Pikes Peak. They're just crazy formations in this garden.
Yeah, dude. I saw some stuff like that. You could, get an angle of, it was like the Wile E. Coyote kind of stuff where he's always chasing the roadrunner. Yeah. You can,
picture, yeah.
You could get, an angle where you could, stand way back from it and, hold your hand up like this, right? And it looks like you're holding this, enormous boulder on top of your head.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yes, yeah. It is funny. I thought that when I saw this picture, I visualized Wile E. Coyote with a board underneath it.
Yeah. Getting
Jump up and down on it. But yeah, so this garden is I don't remember exactly. It's a good size acreage. It's a little west of downtown Colorado Springs. Here's a bird's eye view looking down on a couple of the spires. We have these two spires here.
Yeah.
I do believe this is the formation they actually call a cathedral.
Looks like it used to be something.
I want to say it is.
Yeah.
There was no direct, like this rock here is Zeus. You know what I mean? There was none of that right off the bat. But like I said, there's a lot out here, and so before I went too deep, I figured I'd just spend this time scratching the surface and giving us a layout of where we are. This garden you can drive through here. That is the cathedral. Some call it the Three Sisters. Some call it's called the cathedral. Like it's the ruins of an actual cathedral. You can see a person right here.
Yeah.
You can see how huge this is.
Yeah, well, I was just reading some scriptures this morning, and it does talk about in the Bible where God melts buildings and melts cities, and
I would almost want to say a lot of these ruins do look like it's been melted.
yeah, because they look like old buildings, man. Like there's nothing else around them. You know what I mean?
Right, and there isn't. I mean, it's like a glacier squeezed together and pushed these rocks and formed it, and to me it looks a lot more once a temple maybe or a cathedral, and it had melted.
Yeah.
The Garden of the Gods is a 1,341 acre public park located in Colorado Springs. 862 acres of the park was designated a national natural landmark in 1971. It was established in 1909. And they say its age is 300 million years.
Of course it is.
Yeah. And the phone number ends in 6666.
Yeah, and 634 is 6662. Three times 4 is 12.
Yep.
So that's also, yeah.
Near 17. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I threw that in there because there's just a lot of, I probably could have dissected it more and gave you a few more, but like I said, we're just scratching the surface.
That's like if you want to call Satan, I guess.
I would say. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I strongly believe the fallen angels, the Greek gods, this is where they fell, and they resided on top of peaks. All right, and we are now gonna. All right, so here's Colorado. Pikes Peak's over here, and right by 25 in this area is where the Garden of the Gods. So after looking, through those pictures and figuring out exactly where it's located, I'm like, all right. So I thought of talking about how the fallen angels kind of settled down a little bit, sheltered with the tribe of Dan, right?
Yeah.
So I thought, well, there's got to be an ancient dwelling place here, and sure enough, just southwest, few miles of the Garden of the Gods is, they call it a pueblo.
Yeah.
So it's right in the cliffs, in the caves. So it's like, when you live, where do you have a garden, right? In your backyard, right? So it started making me think, all right, so they did and do live in the mountaintops, South Rockies. They have their garden. And they started mixing with humans, the tribe of Dan, I believe. And of course there's a settlement. They rebuilt this and redone it in I want to say 70s to do it as a museum. This is some artifacts, pottery. I put this picture in here because I was talking about incantation bowls.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what these are. These two are incantation bowls. The ancestral Puebloans lived and traveled the Four Corners area of southwestern United States from 1200 BC to AD 1300. The Pueblo people did not permanently live in the Mantua Springs area, but lived and they built their cliff dwellings in the Four Corners area across northern Rio Grande. So Montoya Springs is that cave dwelling I just showed you.
Yeah.
So now we have the Colorado Springs, Pikes Peak, the cave dwellings, and the gardens. Here is, all right, let me jump back. Now we have another peak, the Cheyenne Mountain. Right here. So this is Cheyenne Mountain. Cheyenne Mountain has 3 peaks. Southwestern Peak Cheyenne Mountain Summit at 9,200 feet in elevation. It was formerly called Mount Alberk. The antenna farm sits on the middle peak. The northern peak, the horns, may look to some like the head of a dragon or horns. It's called double horns.
Of course it is.
Yes, the hiking trail goes to the Devil Horns. It's like Devil Horns hiking trail. But yeah, some people say it looks like a dragon.
Yeah, dude. You got any pictures of that?
Here it is right here.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm assuming the dragon from the other side would look like the dragon face. But this peak here is the Devil Horns.
Dude, it wouldn't surprise me if dragons start popping out of that place eventually.
Yeah. Yeah. And look how round the Earth is. I just noticed the horizon. It's definitely on an arc.
Well, the outside of the Earth is that part of the Earth has a little bit of an arc to it. Yeah, and that's another thing is if you look at the edge of the Earth from the sky, you know, it's a circle, so it's gonna appear at a certain angle to have an arc, even though it doesn't really. But I'm sure it's got somewhat of a bulge. You know what I mean? Otherwise, it wouldn't pop out of the ocean and, you know, be elevated up to 10,000 feet or whatnot.
You're right. This is there's an antenna on this. I just noticed too. It's hard to see.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
You hear that? Yeah. It just struck me funny because the other peak, the second peak, has a whole antenna farm. Satellites, 5G, tons of antennas on it. You can see it in the first picture right up here. You can see how you can maybe 7, 8 different
Oh,
ones
yeah.
right up in here.
Probably lightning rods to charge the dragon. You know.
So the Devil Horns is right here, and this antenna farm's up here. So now we have Cheyenne Mountain, Pikes Peak, Cliff Dwelling, Garden of the Gods, and then that was just the natural formations. And in this little triangle area, we'll start getting into the Air Force Academy.
Look at that place, huh?
Right? That's right here, just north of the Garden of the Gods. And it's called the Cadet Cathedral.
Wow. How many points are there? 1, 2, 3.
17.
Oh, you counted them already? Good for
I
you.
counted them.
Yeah.
There's a nice 17 right across here.
Well, that makes sense, right at near the Dragon Mountain.
Right near the Dragon Mountain, just north of it, just north of the Garden of the Gods.
You know what those look like too, man? Arrowheads.
You're right.
Right? The tip of the spear, Apollo.
Right? Like, I thought that about pike. You
Yeah.
know, a pike is the tip of a spear.
Yeah.
You put your enemies on a pike to scare off the next round of enemies. Same thing. Spearhead.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy, man. What a weird looking building.
It's an Air Force Academy. And it's literally the Cadet Cathedral. I think it was built.
Oh my word, dude.
Isn't that crazy?
That's for like drawing power out of the air. Right? That's crazy looking.
It is crazy looking. Yeah.
What the heck?
It's an academy, the Air Force Academy, but it's pretty crazy. Here's the inside of it.
What? Dude, that place is satanic. It looks like some Freemasonic like sacrifice lair or something.
So these cadets, they get their marriages and their graduation. They can there's actually photo albums or photo pictures of the groom and bride, and he's in his cadet uniform. So the land it's on is obviously a military base.
Yeah.
But it's just open to the public. Just a cadet, Air Force Academy school. But
Yeah, and look at with the shiny floor, right? It's like as above, so below with that point.
right, yeah, I thought so too.
There's the alien Gray's face,
It totally is.
right? I don't know if people can see it, but let me just use my little mouse here. These are like the alien eyes, the big Gray's eyes. Then the little nose, mouth. Like, this is totally a Gray. And of course, it's the U.S. Air Force, right? Yeah.
Right. So on the other side of Colorado Springs, adjacent to the Colorado Springs International Airport, we have Peterson Air Force Base. We have the headquarters of Space Operations Command, the U.S. Space Force.
Oh, goodness.
And this is the Peterson Air Force Base Space Command. This is their logo.
Yeah, you know what that is? If you turn it upside down, dude, those are the two fangs of the serpent.
It sure is. Now that you say that. Yep.
The other end looks like some kind of Greek god down there or something.
On the other one,
Yeah, it looks like there's some kind of face on it.
says space. Kind of does. But this symbol looked a lot like the inside of the Cadet Cathedral.
Yeah, you're totally right. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Oh, wow, yeah.
Let me see, go back. See it?
Oh, yeah, dude.
And now that I see that they have a metal hanging cross that looks like a giant sword right here, and I didn't see that. Wow. All right.
Yeah.
So on the Peterson Air Force Base, we have the Space Force headquarters, Space Operations Command, We also have the headquarters of NORAD and U.S. Northcom, which is North American Communications. And NORAD is like radar. But if you ever, sorry, TV stations, radio stations during this time of the year, the little kids can log on or tune in, and it would be like a Santa tracker telling you what part of the world he's in.
Oh, yeah.
That's NORAD.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, yeah. Did you see what they did this year?
No.
They were doing all in big cities across the U.S. They were doing like hologram Santa Claus and the sleigh and the reindeer thing, going over cities.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I heard about it, and I heard about some that were like skyscraper sized, and it was like hundreds of drones. And
oh, I saw they did that too. Yeah, the drone displays.
the holographic is just insane.
Yeah.
You can just project it anywhere, and it totally looks like a 3D solid.
Yeah, they're bouncing all those things off the firmament.
And whatever layer there might be.
Yeah.
So this is part of the museum and the visitor center at the Patterson Air Force Base. A little bit of symbolism in here.
A little bit. My goodness.
This one here, this one reminded me of the witch from the Suicide Squad. That her symbol. The circle with the two horns.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just counting trees.
Oh, wow. You know what? I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, that was like one of the first things I do is I'll like start counting stuff, looking at stuff.
I do too. I tried. To me, this was that 4-leaf clover. How it was.
Oh, yeah. I could see that, yeah.
With a cross within a cross.
Yeah, you got your little circumpunk there.
All over. Yeah, they're all circumpunks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like half a circle, but it's a circumpunk. And then inside there's another circumpunk. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, an octagon. 8 sides there. Peterson Air Force Base. Previously, Peterson Air Force Base, Peterson Field, and Army Air Base is in Colorado Springs. It's a United States Space Force base that shares an airfield with the adjacent Colorado Airport. The elevation is 1,885. 1885. It was built in 1942, and it's called Space Base Delta 1.
Delta 1.
So directly west of that, at the base of the Cheyenne Mountain, there's a military complex called the Cheyenne Mountain Complex. Huge underground facility.
Yeah, they have tunnels that go under the Rockies too, man.
And what they do show is just this one tunnel. There's dozens of different pictures of it. People standing outside, politicians, military, trucks going and coming. But this is the only tunnel that is public. And they make it seem like it's tiny. But I've been in the one in Kansas, and you can't fathom. I can't explain to you how it felt, and how deep they go. You don't need a 14,000-foot mountain to play in. It could just be a molehill. The complexes and the infrastructure underground goes so deep, you can't fathom it.
You know what it reminds me of is, you remember the first Resident Evil movie?
Yes, the very first one, it was like...
Yeah, where they had the hive underground. And it was like this, all this giant underground facility, and they had to go in there and like I don't know, get something out or get some people out or something. And it was just like this city that just kept going down and down and down with all these little, it looked like a giant beehive underground.
And that's basic. That's what these are.
Yeah.
Literally, I wouldn't doubt it if this, excuse me, is connected to the one I was in Missouri. Missouri is not that far away from it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure a lot of them are connected. Yeah, look at that door, dude.
Look at that door, yeah. And this is what they publicly show you. This vault door. It's also a atomic bomb shelter. Blah blah blah. But yeah, this is the Air Force operations, NORMAD, so many communications, telecoms, all of the radar. It's all in this complex. But it's huge. It's so much bigger than what they show you. I only put a few of the different pictures you can get, but they're all basically just regurgitated renditions of the same pictures. But this is huge. It's so huge. The Cheyenne Mountain Complex is United States Space Force installation and defense bunker located unincorporated El Paso County, Colorado, next to the city of Colorado Springs, at the Cheyenne Mountain Space Force Station, which hosts the activities of several tenant units. Also located in Colorado Springs is Peterson Space Force Base, where North American Aerospace Defense Command, NORAD, and United States Northern Command headquarters are located. The military complex has included the past many units of NORAD, U.S. Space Command, Aerospace Defense Command, Air Force Systems Command, Air Weather Service, and Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA. The complex communication center is also used by the nearby U.S. Civil Defense Warning Center. So it's huge. These are all the different branches of communications and aerospace defense, Space Force. They're all in Cheyenne Mountain.
It just seems so weird to me to have like communications and Space Force stuff underground.
In the middle of the...
You would think it would be like up high or something,
Right. And why would they be so deep into the ground when the second peak has an antenna farm, right?
Yeah, it's so weird. They're shady, man.
So here's their logos that came up when I was looking at all these different United States Space Force, the Space Force Militant. Jay's showed you the symbol before, the one in the middle. The six-headed beast. And then the strength and preparedness.
Yeah, it actually makes a 6.
Which one?
This middle one right here, right?
Yeah.
6.
Yeah.
So you got 6 heads and the number 6. That's your 66. And a big V in the background. That's for Lucifer.
Yeah. And the border is 6.
Yeah. So yeah, there's your 666.
There's your 666. And then and your lightning bolt represents Zeus, your electricity, right?
Yep, Tesla. And then the sword represents the weaponry that the fallen angels gave to men. Yeah.
Men, right?
Yeah.
This is the Cheyenne Mountain Operations Center. Canada's involved.
That's weird. I feel like there's something there.
I do too. I looked at it quite a bit.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll like stare at certain pictures because I'm like, there's something there. I'm just not seeing it.
Yeah, I mean, so we have the cathedral and the Space Force symbol right here. But there is something about it.
Yeah, it's one of those weird.
All right. So now over here is the Air Force Base. Just east to the right. And then in between Colorado Springs and the Air Force Base is the International Airport. Right here, Cheyenne Mountain, and the underground complex. Here's Pikes Peak. Here's Garden of the Gods, and the Air Force Academy up here. This whole city is just space, satellite communications, and underground communications. And back to the area of the cave dwellings, the cliff dwellings. There's one cave. That this cave specifically is the Cave of the Winds. It's called the Cave of the Winds, and they explain it as just natural winds go up through the valley, and winds carved out this cave.
They said winds carved the cave?
Yeah, so like it's a wind tunnel. You can see some natural, like where wind would go in and come out.
That's some pretty serious wind, bro, cutting
That's
through
what
rocks.
I was thinking. Okay,
Yeah.
you know, so these are like windows over here behind this kid, and then above him, what he's looking up out is like another top window. But a lot of it, you look, is layered and made. And this is actually two pictures. I layered the book cover over the actual picture.
Oh yeah, you can see the lines. Yeah.
Yeah. I just did that because I was trying to squeeze in both, and I wanted to.
No, it's pretty good, man. It's pretty accurate. It looks close.
But it's right next to and right in the same area as the cave dwellings. I believe it was more built. Yeah, of course, these railings and stairs were built, but it's hard to see. But beyond the stairs and in these walls, it just looks like there's some layered corner cut stones. So, thinking of the winds, and why we're here is because the Greek gods, aka fallen angels, aka Greek gods. The winds. So I looked up God of the Winds, Keeper of the Winds, and there's Aeolos. Aeolos, Greek mythology. Aeolos, the son of Hippolytes, was the ruler of the winds, encountered by Odysseus in Homer's Odyssey. It gets confusing because there's two Aeolos. Hippolytes is a word that means all of the gods, the top of the Greek gods, like Zeus, Poseidon, Hades. Only in Homer's Odyssey does he have a name and is a person. He in other versions or other mythology, you look it up, seems to come off as a son of Poseidon, which would make sense because he's known as the winds, the rains, the clouds. And not too far away,
Of course it is, dude.
Utah, there's a place called Angel's Landing.
I wonder why they named it that.
It was previously known as Temple of Aeolos. And it's a 1,488 foot tall rock formation in the Zion National Park in southwestern Utah. So 88 good number in there, right?
Yeah.
14, and yes, it's not too far away from Colorado Springs, but I found it very interesting. Helios
Yeah.
is the wind god, and this is Angel's Landing. I believe not just in the Garden of the Gods or Cheyenne Mountain or Pikes Peak or here in Utah. I believe the gods landed in these places and resided there.
Yeah, no, I'm a firm believer, dude. I think they came down at the Rockies, because
I
it
believe they did.
it fits with the whole America is Egypt thing, and
It does. That's all I could keep thinking. The more I looked into this, the more, you know, why would they? It's right in the book. It says that these are the fallen angels. These are the principalities of them, and they taught man, weapon, war, communications, God of the wind, God of the air, in the
Yeah.
middle of this underground facility and air travel facilities, all right there.
yeah,
Right? There's no doubt in my mind that's exactly where it is. Why else would they be stationed there?
and Denver, right?
Dan,
Yeah, Denver, Colorado, the Mile High City,
right?
right? That's Dan, right at
You're
the base of
absolutely
the
right.
Rockies.
And then they older than the Pueblo people. They call them the UTE.
Yeah.
From Utah.
That reminds me of. Remember my cousin Vinny, where Joe Pesci's like the Utes. That's what that reminded me of.
Because that's what I was.
He's talking. The judge is like, "You mean youths?" He said, "That's what I said, the Utes." Oh man.
That is funny. All right. So like Zion, like Mount Zion, and Zionists. So we have in America Zion National Park, Southwest Utah Nature Preserve, distinguished by Zion Canyon steep red cliffs. Zion Canyon Scenic Drive cuts through its main section, leading the forest trails along the Virgin River. The river flows to the Emerald pools, the color blue, right? Emeralds, which have waterfalls and a hanging garden. Also along the river, partially through deep chasms, is Zion Narrows wading hike. This national park was established November 19th, 1919.
Of course it was. Have a 19. Oh my word.
So a lot of that stuck out to me, and I felt like it fit, even though it isn't Colorado Springs. Denver. Wow, man, I can't stop thinking about that. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's why they have that satanic airport and the underground stuff and all those demonic artwork.
Wow. Yeah, so I'm like I said, I just wanted to touch.
So that's a project for you for next week, dude.
No, I could just go anywhere of this, and that's why I wanted to just let's look at the landscape and see all these different things out here. Maybe it'll spark an interest in you, and you go down the rabbit hole too. But so now we've got different multiple landings, God gardens, the Olympus Mountains, tall mountains, fallen angels live there, and the god of the wind. In Greek mythology, Aeolus is Romanized Aeolus. It's quick moving, nimble, and he was the son of Poseidon. So some will say he's the son of what did I just say? I'd have to go back now. But it was from a character from Homer's Odyssey.
Oh, Odysseus.
Odysseus.
Yeah.
But So to me, he's more. If you watch the modern Perseus Jackson,
Oh yeah, I've been seeing that.
he's the son
I've
of
seen
Poseidon.
previews for that popping up on my
Yeah,
YouTube.
Aeolus actually um, had a daughter, and then Poseidon had a son with that daughter, who also was named Aeolus. So there's like a son and a grandson that are related to Poseidon. According to the Hellenic mythology, Zeus, the father of all gods, appointed Aeolus to be keeper of the winds, which he safeguarded in a leather sack and was to release only at Zeus's command. He was the son of Helen and the founder of the Aeolian race. So he started his own race of people with Helen, and he was under Zeus's command.
Yeah, you can totally see they totally steal their story from the Bible.
They do, absolutely. Um, Anil, An- Anal was the 14th watcher of the 20 leaders of the 200 fallen angels who were mentioned in the ancient work titled the Book of Enoch. The name Anal is sometimes translated as Reign of God, even though the name is often confused with the name Hanal. Michael Kibb interprets his name to be Cloud of Gods. So, with all these different names, and Poseidon being the fallen angel or the god of water, the marine kingdom, it
Yeah.
only makes sense that um, it would be the son of him or the grandson of him would be the god of rain or the wind or cloud or all the same. And here's a depiction of him. He's got the trident. He's got Poseidon's trident and other like the octopus on his shield. So while I was in the Zion National Park and found the landing of the gods, God's landing, and it was previously named the Temple of Aeolus. There was also another one. It's a historical landmark in Richmond, England, in the UK. It's like a royal botanic gardens.
All right.
Just found that connection to the UK.
Yeah. Yeah.
Across the puddle.
That's James's
But,
stopping ground. Yeah.
So there was so much talk of the space agency and the Air Force and all the air traveling. So I'm thinking, well, the way NASA likes to name Apollo and everything after gods, could there possibly Helios and NASA? Well, yes. The European Space Agency Atmospheric Dynamic Mission, AEOS, was an Earth observation satellite operated by the European Space Agency. It was satellites to study the winds on Earth.
Of course.
And they were in help with NASA. NASA helped them. So I'm sure at some point they were probably in Colorado Springs. There's a whole lot of Air Force and space. And then last this is NASA's Aeolus Calibration Validation Field Campaign. Okay. It was conducted to validate measurements from the European Space Agency's Atmospheric Dynamic Mission Helios satellite that was used Doppler LiDAR to measure wind profiles. In addition, Helios provided valuable information on aerosols and cloud layer vertical distribution and their optical properties. Do you understand that sentence?
Yeah, it seems like they want to see where they can shine their little fancy lasers off of.
Correct, or your holograms, or your
Yeah.
you said the holograms are on the firmament, but aerosols, meaning sprays.
Right, remember the ozone layer when we were like kids? You know, they're like,
You could have stopped using your aqua net because
yeah, Aquanet. Yes. Dude, the girls used to be back in the day with their big hair, be like, shh, for like a week. They'd be like this high and like hard as a rock. Oh, the 80s. All right.
So yes, this one sentence is basically saying what they're spraying for a cloud layer, vertical above us, straight above us, and the distribution and their optical properties, what you can see, what you can project on them, what you can hide in them. The Helios CalVal, it's the calibration validation campaign, conducted 5 research flights from April 17th to 30th in 2019 over the eastern Pacific Ocean. The goal of Helios was to demonstrate the performance of NASA's Doppler aerosol wind dawn LiDAR and high altitude LiDAR observatory. HALO, high altitude LiDAR observatory. Again, back to your Halo video.
Yeah.
Halo comes back. Flown on board NASA's DC-8 aircraft under a wide variety of weather and aerosol conditions and performed initial comparisons with the ADM Helios Level 2 measurements. Drop sondes were also deployed during these flights. So they're like a sound sensor, I guess. All right. And it's an airborne instrument that uses pulsed lasers at varying scan angles to detect the movement of atmospheric aerosols such as dust or sea salt. I'm going to go here and finish it on my phone because I didn't have enough room.
Yeah.
Level 2, where we flights done as an airborne instrument that uses pulsed lasers at the varying scale, angles, and detect movement of atmospheric aerosols such as dust and sea salt. So there's sea salt in the atmospheric. Yeah, I mean water evaporates, but there's sea salt and dust. It can profile wind vectors, both speed and direction. Halo uses combined differential absorption LiDAR, dial, a high spectral resolution LiDAR to profile atmospheric aerosols and water vapor. Aerosols and wind measurements can be paired together, understand the capabilities of DAWN and what strengths and weaknesses are to evaluate Helios aerosol and wind measurements. So basically, they're spraying, creating a layer, and seeing how they can measure it with LiDAR. Which LiDAR sends out a light, a pulse of light that is not, we can't see it, but it bounces back off objects and comes back to the sensor, and they measure the distance, blah blah blah, and they can lay out, graph out maps, and LiDAR is how they go underground.
Oh yeah, they Yeah. Seen them find like pyramids and stuff with that thing.
Right, and they can go, deep underground lidar,
Yeah.
but they're doing that up in the air, and then how they can map from up there down to here. And then in the Cave of Winds, I'm gonna end this with one big circle back around to Jay's Rainbow Bridge video.
Fantastic.
The Cave of Winds is a natural cave behind Bridal Veil Falls at the Niagara Falls. The cave was some 130 feet high, 100 feet wide, and 30 feet in depth. It was discovered in 1834, and it was originally dubbed Aelios' Cave. The Greek god.
Man.
And yes, it's located at Niagara Falls State Park on Goat Island.
Yeah. Yeah, that place was demonic, bro.
Yeah.
I almost went down into that Cave of Winds, but it seemed awful wet down there, so I didn't go.
Yeah, you got to go under a fall.
Yeah, they're like, well, there's like a way to go down through. I don't even know how you get down there. There must be something going down through the rock. And you come out on the bottom, and there's like this whole deck system, this whole like little deck walkway system down there. Yeah, it was. But I was soaking wet down there, man. It was soaking wet up the top, so I was like, dude, I ain't trying to get soaked.
Yeah, I've been there, but at the edge I didn't go down, or I didn't want to be a part of any of that. I went when I was younger. I was probably about 11 or 12 with the family. But yeah, it definitely is. So I wouldn't doubt it if there was somehow connected underground from Niagara, and it makes sense because here's the Greek god of winds. They named this cave after, and he's the son or nepotism of Poseidon, who's the marine kingdom at the waterfalls. Right.
My camera froze again.
Well, that brought me to the end.
I'm still here. I'm just frozen. At least it waited to the end to freeze me.
At least you're not, making a complete goofy face.
Yeah, like in the middle, like yawning or something. That's what usually happens.
So, that was my presentation. That was my scratch at the surface of Colorado Springs and the beginning of the Rockies.
No, that was good, man.
Like I said, I do believe I had a feeling that we'll probably come back around to this. There's a lot out there. So.
Yeah, I gotta say, if you feel led, you should I would look into Denver and stuff.
I definitely want to. I've heard some of the conspiracies, and I looked at some of the murals and the statues that are at the airport.
Oh yeah, they just redid a whole bunch of new art installations in there.
I'm sure it was to soften what was there before. It was getting too much notary for the satanicness, I guess. But
yeah, that place is demonic, bro.
And it makes sense why. I mean, if that's where the fallen angels fell or reside, high places.
Well, yeah, one thing I hadn't looked into which I've been meaning to, but I've been super busy, with this whole leave the world behind debacle. But in Enoch, it tells you where Dan is in comparison to where the angels came down. Like, I think it said it's in the southeast of the mountain. So if Denver is in the southeast of the mountain, then there you have it.
You're absolutely right.
You know what I mean?
And they're almost all in line across
Yeah.
Colorado Springs. Like, yeah, I'm gonna look into it.
And I was looking at the skyline of the Rocky Mountains, and they do look they do look super similar to the Paramount logo for the movies. Those mountains, right? I swear I seen the same kind of peak lines on the Rockies.
You're right.
You know?
I mean, it's the tallest mountains. Pikes was like second to tallest in the country, but they call them the 14ers. They're all in the 14,500 area. So, yeah. So either way, all right. I just made a note of that. The Book of Enoch talking about dams and the location.
Yeah, it's right when Enoch's gonna reprimand the angels.
All right. Good to go. All right, so I'll definitely go into that and see where that leads me for the next episode. Again, thank you for having me.
Oh,
Listening.
Thank you, my friend.
It's been good. Everybody out there, and James, God bless. Stay vigilant.
Yeah, thanks again, Franz. Always a pleasure, man. Alright, well, my camera's frozen. It looks like there's just a photograph of me. Thanks all you guys for tuning in and supporting Franz and the work he does for the channel. He's come a long way, so it's always good to see him back on and sticking to it. And, you know, he's definitely uncovered a lot of awesome stuff over the year or so that he's been doing the show with me. I'm glad that he decided to do the show with me, you know. And, yeah, it's always a pleasure to have him on. And I appreciate you guys supporting him. His videos are catching on. They're getting lots of views, which is awesome. You know, so I appreciate all the support you guys are showing for Franz and the work he does. And just a quick heads up, I know I put a little YouTube post, a text thing there out. But yeah, I'm working on this video for you guys. Leave the World Behind. But because it's made by the Beast himself, there's just so much in it. And I want to give you guys the best presentation that I can. So that will be coming within the next couple days. And yeah, until then, and this Saturday night, I pray the Lord bless all of you and have a wonderful night. Love you guys. Take care, and thanks to all you for tuning in. Thank you, Donnie, James, and Steven for chiming in the conversation boxes, or whatever they call this thing, the chat. And we'll see you next time. Have a good night. God bless.